Hi guys, I'm Ryan Newsman and welcome to my fly tying channel. If you haven't already done so, consider hitting the subscribe button down below. That'll keep you up to date with everything as I upload it. My channel already contains hundreds of videos covering a wide range of both patterns and techniques, from the basic to the more advanced. So without delay, let's get on with the show. Hello guys, welcome back. So previously you'll have seen me tie the Bann special as a cone body in a small size, so we're going to do now a medium sized one, which is just as you know, if you've seen the other videos, there's a couple of slight differences when you move up in size. So I have here a length of 1.8mm black inner, and this is probably about 15mm or so here. So I have a bit of black outer tubing in. This is the 3.2, and this is around about the same length, so 12 to 15mm long. I'll push that back over the flange that I've created, and instead of pushing it back to the point where I have about 2mm, I'm leaving about 8mm or so here. The idea here being that we are going for something equivalent to maybe a size 10 to 8 if you were using a standard hook. So we use a strong tying thread as before, just to bind down our outer onto the inner. And yet again, we're going to use the Arctic runner that I dyed to be an equivalent, I suppose, of a golden pheasant breast. Although this time a little bit more and a little bit longer. So measure up my bunch, trim the end flat, take my super glue and just soak the very end of it in the super glue, set it up on top there and wind into it while it is wet. We'll then take again our crinkle mirage, set that up on top, flip it back so there's a double layer, and wind back until we hit the flange. Now you can see I didn't tie the tail right back to there initially. What I try and do when I'm tying things is, if I tie them in forward, everything that would encompass the tail, and then move backwards with it, it means that I don't end up with multiple wraps over the back and making a big bulky tie-in point right at the rear. So next we're going to use our hens and synthetic yellow dubbing, and just create a dubbing loop with that, or dubbing noodle, whatever you want to call it, and wrap that forward over the outer section of the tubing, and that creates the yellow rear of the standard Bann special type fly. Next we're going to take an orange badger hackle. This is happening to be a cock hackle, although you could use a hen hackle if you want, especially as the front hackle of this one's going to be a cock. You could use a hot orange hen or a burnt orange or whatever you want. Tie that in by its tip. Now I doubled that there before I tied it in, and if you look up, there should be a little info button up in the corner, and that I'll try and add a link to that where I have a techniques section on my channel here where you can check out videos like that, like doubling hackles, like dubbing, like ribbing. So we tie in and tie off our stalk there, and then we're going to take the black cone, which is going to create the front part of the Bann special body. Take our super glue, put a bed of it on there, and then force the cone back into the hackle, back into the dubbing ball, and that is the body of the fly done. So now we move to the front of the fly. I'm swapping over to my standard tying thread. And first things first, I'm going to tie in 2 jungle cock feathers. So I'm going to tie one in on my side, a couple of turns across it. I'm going to then strip one for the other side back to a similar point. Match them up for length and tie that in. So we're trying not to advance too far forward here, because I feel that inner tubing, the strength of it doesn't suit having a long type bit of fly tied on it. So I try to have maybe 3 or 4 mil at most out the front of any cone, and I think that just helps with strength, overall strength. So in the smaller version we just put on a hackle at this stage, but now we're going to put on a wing as well. So what I'm going to use is a silver fox mask, and I'm just going to take a little bunch of that. What we want here is like a soft badger type fibre. So a couple of turns onto that just to hold it in place. Swap over, put on a little bit of super glue, a couple of turns over that, it'll create a tiny little blob, which then allows me to fold back my wing and tie across it. And now to finish our fly, we're going to put on another hackle. So we're going to put on a white badger hackle. Strip that off, grab it by its tip, flip it over and double it. We said earlier, check out the techniques video for more in-depth on doubling hackles. Throw that up on the side there, tie it in by its tip, add the hackle pliers, and again I'm trying not to travel forward as much as is humanly possible. Turn across that, fold back the stock, and I turn across it to hold it in position. Trim that off. Because it'll be behind a cone, I tend to leave the trim off points with maybe a couple of more mil than what I normally would if I was tying a standard fly. And I think that just helps to, the cone will hide that, but also it means it's less likely to pull out. And now we'll finish this off with a silver hybrid cone. Super glue a couple of inches or so of our tying thread, and then we're wrapping in the 1 point. We're not traveling forward, we're not traveling back as if we can help it, we're just creating like a very flat head. And the super glue helps you to do that, and then just ram the cone back into that. Trim it off. And all that remains is to flame our inner tubing. So we'll cut off our inner, leaving about 1.5 to 2 mil. Hold it vertically. Hold the lighter horizontally, flame that, and then just make sure your eye is patent, and that is our medium Bann special Conebody. So to me that's equivalent to like a In length it's a 10, although I've probably tied it that little bit bigger to approximate an 8 because it's easier to tie bigger flies for the video. But you can just fiddle about with proportions, the amount that you're putting in, and you could get, you know, on the smaller fly you might get a 14 and a 12, and on the bigger fly here you get a 10 and an 8 equivalent, just how heavy you dress it. So I'll get the small version here and set it beside it. Do you see? So you can see on the small version we didn't put in the wing, but hopefully that gives you a few ideas. It's a sort of modern adaptation of the classic Bann special, which is one of the most deadly of all Irish shrimp play patterns. So hopefully you like what you see. If you did, give me a like, subscribe, tell your friends, check out the other videos on the channel, and until next time, tight lines, and thanks for watching.